Hey guys, back here with another video. This time I'm going to talk about the Nikon 1 AW1. And this is Nikon's waterproof, fully weather sealed camera. You could submerge it to 49 feet. And it's freeze proof, shock proof. It's basically, they say you could drop it from 6 feet, not that I'd recommend that. And it'll operate from 14 degrees to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a 14 megapixel 1-inch sensored camera, just like their other Nikon 1 series, and just like the RX100, the Sony RX100 and the RX10. It's a little smaller than the Micro Four Thirds, but it's much larger than some of the other compact point and shoots. Now, not to be confused with the earlier camera I've reviewed, which is the Nikon, the 110AW. I think they're up to 130 now, which use a much smaller sensor. Weatherproof, but the thing I like about this 1-inch sensor is I'm actually able to shoot in RAW, and it has interchangeable lenses. So a lot going for it. I bought this mainly as a fully weather-sealed, dust-proof camera. I don't intend on swimming with it or going underwater just because I'd probably use something different, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But it is a weatherproof, waterproof camera marketed by Nikon, and I have the optional silicone sleeve on it here. That's why it looks kind of chunky. And also on the lens. Kind of protects it, and on the grip itself there, it gives you a little more of a something to grab onto. And this is shown with a kit lens, which is, I would rather, they also have a optional prime lens as well. But I bought it with the comes with a kit lens, which is basically a 11 by 27.5 millimeter, 3.5 to 5.6. Basically, it's a 30 to 70 millimeter lens. And here's the 10 millimeter prime lens, f2.8, which is really a 27 millimeter. It goes a little bit wider than this, but this thing is really sharp. This rivals images taken with my RX10 and RX100. The prime lens does. They're both weather. These are the only two weather-sealed, waterproof lenses that they offer for this series as of this video. I think they haven't really made too many of them. Now, the nice thing about that is I can use the other lenses on here, the other 1 series lenses, but I cannot use these waterproof, weatherproof, the AW series lenses on the other 1 series cameras. The other thing is the O-ring. The secret of the weather or waterproofing is the actual O-ring here. If I can show you. Pain in the butt to get off. If you can see it, actually you can't really. Yeah, you can a little bit. See this little gray O-ring there. And the lens has the flange. Kind of keeps gunk out of there. So you got to press it in and then twist it on there. It's pretty tough. That, and it's got these seals, or the double latches. So yellow makes open. And that's where you can plug in, mini USB or an HDMI. And here you can plug in it does have the remote option, but you need to buy the Nikon, the WU1B, I believe, module. I had this already for my D600, so it worked out pretty good in that way. So you need this module to have basic shooting functionality. It just lets you trip the shutter and transfer images. Well, you can trip the shutter, you can obviously see the view, and transfer images to your smartphone. But there's no remote zooming since it's a mechanical zoom. And obviously it compromises the weather sealing, so you're not going to be doing any remote shooting with this door open underwater or in inclement weather. Of course, the battery compartment has the same 2 yellow indicators. And the memory card here. So yeah, I primarily bought it as a all-weather camera. Pretty robust one at that. That way I don't have to worry about the camera getting damaged or what if I'm out in the weather or near ocean or sea spray. But you can take it underwater. see what are the highlights that I can mention. So this will shoot 60 frames per second. Yep, I said 60. 60 at 20 frame bursts with focus and exposure locked in. Or you can do 15 frames per second at 33 frame bursts with autofocus. So that's pretty impressive, and they're able to do that because the sensor is smaller and they're able to pair it with a pretty good processor. Excuse me. It also do 1200 frames per second slow motion high speed video, but that's only captured in 320 by 120, like a little postage size stamp video window. But it's pretty cool because you can inlay it into another video and show like slow motion in the upper corner. It'll also do 400 frames per second slow motion high speed video capture at 640 by 240, a little bit larger. What else can I say? You could also do still capture during video. That's nothing new, but the nice thing about this camera is that there's no noise. There's no click sound, or there's no interruption in the video while you're taking stills while recording video, which is pretty cool. And I believe there's 20 still max per each video clip. It'll do 220 shots per charge, and there's an underwater mode which corrects for, blue, haze, tinting, and distortion, which is indicative of underwater photography. It does have a built-in GPS. It's not the same as the AW110 where it actually had a worldwide base map. There is no mapping on here, a mapping display, but it does capture your position, altitude, and the depth, and has an electronic compass. And the images tagged with this can be viewed, your location can be viewed using the included Nikon NX software, or you can even use Lightroom to pull it up. Being a weather-sealed camera, it's a waterproof camera. There's some complaints about people. To be honest, guys, they're probably not user error. They're probably not using it properly. And there's special care that needs to be made when you're using this as an underwater camera. It's a lot cheaper than a dedicated underwater housing, but an underwater housing will allow you to dive deeper. This goes to 49 feet. I probably wouldn't take it past 20 feet. And I say that because the pressure, as you're going deeper and deeper in depth, there's more pressure exerted onto the body of the camera. And probably the biggest failure point is, I believe, the memory battery door compartment. I've heard issues with that. That being said, not the lens, surprisingly, with the robust O-ring. It's the other thing, they recommend that before every dive, or before you go, jumping underwater, is to clean and lubricate the O-ring. And it comes with like this, lubricant that helps you keep the O-ring from cracking and being damaged. But there are a couple of things you have to take into consideration. If you follow these steps, I think your camera will be all right underwater. Did some reading on it, and I don't plan on taking it underwater, but might be occasions I would consider this like a snorkeling camera, but not a dive camera. Maybe like in Hanama Bay in Hawaii. That's what I'm thinking. So anyway, they recommend that you clean and lubricate the O-ring prior to each dive. I know it's a pain in the neck, but that ensures the weather seal. And also, avoid extreme pressure, so don't dive in with the camera. Don't stand under a waterfall just because the pressure could compromise the seals. Watch out for condensation. That's the other thing I've read. People saying, my screen fogged up, blah, blah. Well, if you leave this sitting on a hot beach, on your beach towel for like an hour, and then you decide to go underwater in the cold ocean, what do you think's going to happen? It's waterproof. It's not condensation proof. It's, like when you have like a can of soda on a hot summer day. Obviously, when it's closed, nothing's leaking out of it, but yet, it's wet to the touch. Same idea. So if you can minimize the temperature extremes as much as possible, definitely do that. Nikon also recommends that you have this serviced once a year, the seals. Yeah, that could get pretty expensive. That's why I guess I'm not going to use it as an underwater camera too much, just because, issues of that sort. It's not bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great camera. I bought it as a robust, weather-sealed, dust-proof camera. And that's my intended use, and I should be all right with it. Alright guys, so if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know at the bottom here. I'll try to post some videos of it. And still shots can be seen on my Flickr page. Flickr.com/photos/LEXPIX_. And I'll have a link down there. Alright guys, see ya.